Hey guys, my name is Deadly Crab, and this is the first video from my new channel. For this channel, I want to focus on bot lane and how the changes in the game affect bot lane mains, but more specifically AD carry. I've been playing this game since the beginning of Season 2, and I've been a bot lane main since the end of Season 3. I main support from the middle of Season 3 up until about the end of Season 4, and I've been maining AD carry since the end of Season 4 until about now, so I have a pretty good grasp of how bot lane works. I've ended the last two seasons in Plat, playing the game on and off, and now I've really been consistently playing the game a lot more, trying to really get a lot better and understanding the game as well as bot lane a lot more. Now my mechanics aren't always the best, but I do have a really good understanding of the game and what needs to be done in the bot lane to be successful. Now what I want to talk about in this video is the state of bot lane and where we are at the mid-season patch. At the start of Season 7, AD carry was in a really shitty spot, but thankfully there's been a lot of changes since then that really helps us get to that late game potential that we're looking for. Now bot lane really has always been the center of the classic party, but this season it just seemed a lot more consistent and more relentless with the 8-man, 10-man fights happening bottom lane before even 15 minutes. Now previous seasons, AD carries have had a pretty decent power curve into the late game where they can still contribute mid game to these skirmishes that are happening, but right now how weak the position started at the season, it really left bot lane vulnerable to a lot of ganks and a lot of these fights that were happening to the likes of junglers like Kha'Zix or Rengar or these mid laners that were popular like LeBlanc and Talon. This state of the game left us wanting a lot more out of AD carry and made a lot of people shy away from the role when they weren't able to contribute to whether your team won or lost the game. I remember at the start of the season getting AD carry in almost every single one of my games because nobody wanted to play this underpowered role that no matter how well you played, it didn't affect the outcome of the game. It was a time where junglers were very strong and could influence the map a lot more and have a decision on the game before you even reached your second or third item to where you can even potentially do something to sway the decision of where the game was going. And when Riot finally made that change and buff lethality, it was something that really needed to be done and helped bring a lot of people back to playing AD carry who had frankly given up on the role. It was that mid-game power spike that really needed to be done to help sway some of these bot lane parties that were happening so it doesn't happen every single game. And that brings us to where we're at today with the end of the mid-season patch, where Blade of the Ruined King is a very good item on most every AD carry. It lets AD carries like Lucian, Ashe, or Twitch bridge the gap until they can get some crit items and do a lot of damage in the late game. Right now bot lane is a much better place than where it was about 3 to 4 months ago. A lot of it's revolving around 2v2 fighting, which leads to a more controlled game, and it really helps the better bot lane dictate how the lane's going to go. Between trading or fighting, you can really outplay your opponents and really go off of your skill as opposed to whoever's going to send more people bot lane earlier. Now I wanted to touch on Ziya and Rakan a little bit. I think Riot did an amazing job in designing these champions. They both are able to be played without the other, but when played together it really shows the strength and the synergy the pair brings together. The range of the Rakan dash into the knock up into the charm, especially when going into Ziya with that extra dash distance, is nuts being able to go that far, and he keeps them CC'd long enough for Ziya to step up, get a few auto attacks in with the feathers, root them into place for even longer, and it just keeps that CC train, which at the end of it, there's no way the enemy laner is going to be still alive, especially if it's an AD carry or a squishy support. Now I don't want to go into too much detail about them because I do want to make another video about the pair, but I do want to say good job Riot. These champions were designed very well and I'm very happy with how they came out. Now a lot of people are probably asking, is AD carry a good role right now, especially for newer players who are looking for a role that they might want to learn a little bit more, play more. I do believe AD carry is in a very good spot right now with how Blade of the Ruined King is. Junglers have been nerfed, assassins aren't picked as frequently as in the previous meta, and bot lane is getting left alone while top, mid, and jungle are fighting over Rift Herald and having their skirmishes going on about in the top side of the map. And this lets you play the lane the correct way. And by doing that, you get to play to your power spike. For example, if you're playing, let's say, a Jinx, you know that you're not going to do too much early game against like a Lucian or a Draven. So you're going to be able to control your lane a lot better, sit back more. You're not going to have to worry about these big fiestas that are happening pre 15 minutes. And you can get to those crit items where you can impact the game and play to your power spike the correct way. And this also goes the same way for early game champions, where if you're playing a Lucian or a Draven, or even a Caitlyn if you have a good matchup there, you can dictate the lane and the trades that are happening. You get better dragon control out of that, and that is another way that you can go about playing the lane, and both ways are correct right now. And I think that puts it in a really good state where there's a huge champion pool of a lot of AD carries being played instead of just a top 2 or top 3. Which leads me to my next point of why the upcoming changes to Blade of the Ruined King are going to be the worst thing for bot lane since the start of the season. Like I said before, Blade is such a good item to help weak early AD carries get to that late game dream without feeling useless before having that 3 to 4 item power spike. We will see a huge shift in the way bot lane is played and the whole meta around bot lane and the whole game in general. This puts the majority of the AD carry champion pool based around crit based champions, which isn't a bad thing, especially since crit got changed and became a lot cheaper than what it was before, but it leaves a lot of AD carry players wanting more out of the early and mid game, and this is going to just bring the Fiesta back down to bot lane, which in my opinion is going to ruin the position for a lot of people and put us back to where we might have been at the start of the season when we didn't really have a good curve getting us to the late game. So to kind of wrap this video up, the state of bot lane is in a really good spot right now. We're seeing the players with better trading and 2v2 fighting come out on top, which leads to a better players being in a good position to carry the game, which is the point of solo queue. It's being able to win no matter how stupid the rest of your teammates are. And the way bot lane is set up right now, it really helps us influence the outcome of the game, which leads to a much better experience for people who are playing AD carry and support. You have a lot more fun with the game when you feel like you're contributing, as opposed to when you just kind of sit in lane and you just hope that you don't get 4-man dove at 10 minutes. It's a lot more frustrating and it's not fun to play a game like that. So I really hope these changes to Blade of the Ruined King don't go through. I'm pretty sure they are, but hopefully there might be some sort of compensation Riot might make for AD carries to maybe boost them up in the mid game, maybe buff lethality a little bit more again. But we'll see where it ends up at. And if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my thoughts on the game. I know this is only my first video, but I'm very excited to continue talking about the game that I love and sharing my knowledge with others about bot lane and League of Legends in general. I really want to thank you for watching the video, and I really hope you have an amazing day.